to another episode of the Book Club Lounge, where we take a deep and occasionally quirky dive into the world of books. We're so glad you could join us today and share in this little corner of literary conversation.
Absolutely, Sarah. And for any first-timers out there, you're in for quite the treat. We've got bookish banter, fiery opinions, and...
Fiery opinions? Elliot, let's not scare them off just yet.
Fair enough, fair enough. Okay, let's just say we've got a lot of passion. That's a good thing, right?
It most definitely is. And for our loyal listeners, welcome back. If you enjoy what you hear today, please remember to like this episode, subscribe to our channel, and click that bell icon so you never miss an update.
Yes, because admit it, missing one of these episodes would honestly be tragic. Where else would you get such high-level intellectual discussion mixed with, my charming personality?
Or possibly just your tendency to ramble.
Guilty as charged. But that's why we've got you keeping me in line, isn't it?
It most certainly is. And on that note, let's dive into today's episode, shall we?
Absolutely, Sarah. So, speaking of passion, today we've got a book that's brimming with it. Kristin Hannah's The Women. And when I say remarkable, I mean prepare yourself, because this one's an emotional roller coaster. She's really done it again, hasn't she?
Oh, absolutely, Elliot. Kristin has quite the reputation for crafting stories that aren't just beautifully written, but deeply resonant. She has a way of giving voice to unique perspectives, and this novel is no exception. I mean, The Nightingale, The Great Alone, and now this? It's truly a profound trajectory.
Totally. And her knack for exploring underrepresented voices really shines here. It's not every day you see a bestseller take on the Vietnam War, let alone focusing on the women caught in the chaos. I mean, let's be real. How often do we even hear these stories anywhere?
Exactly. What I found particularly striking is how she depicts the harrowing experiences of the Army Nurse Corps, balancing the brutality of their service in Vietnam with their silent struggles upon returning home.
And the accolades speak for themselves, don't they? Debuting at the top of the New York Times list. Plus, of course, a Goodreads Choice Award for Historical Fiction in 2024. Not too shabby, huh?
Not shabby at all. What's even more telling is how consistently her books inspire emotional, almost visceral reactions from readers. I noticed that critics and fans praise her ability to make history personal, to weave it into deeply human narratives.
And gut-punching ones, might I add. Did you read some of the reviews people left? Things like unput-downable and heart-wrenching were basically recurring themes. Oh, wait, my favourite was, what was it? Tore me apart but stitched me back together. That's kind of poetic, isn't it?
It is, and it's exactly how I feel. Her use of emotion, honestly, reminds me of her previous works, especially The Nightingale. You can tell how much research and care she put into this. I'd even say The Women might be her most ambitious story yet.
Oh, no doubt. And I also have to point out, Sarah, it's not just the heavy stuff. I mean, even the camaraderie and friendships in this book are inspiring, right? The way she portrays relationships, it's just brilliant. Forget women can be heroes, I'd argue they're the entire narrative's backbone.
I couldn't agree more. That's what makes this such a layered, multidimensional read. Her work serves as a reminder that history isn't just in textbooks. It's lived by real people, real women, with profound and often untold stories.
Okay. Can we just pause for a second and marvel at this body of work? I mean, first The Nightingale, then The Great Alone. And now this, she's building like a legacy of epic proportions here.
She really is, Elliot. And with that note, I think it's time to delve deeper into the heart of the story itself, starting with our heroine, Frances McGrath, shall we? So, Elliot, let's dive into our heroine, Frances McGrath, or Frankie, as she's affectionately called. What captivated me right away was how we meet her at such a defining crossroads in her young life. It's May of 1966, and she's on Coronado Island, California, surrounded by this seemingly idyllic bubble. At just 20, freshly out of nursing school, she's full of potential, but her world is still shaped by her family's upper-class, buttoned-up traditions. It's such an intriguing starting point, Wouldn't you agree?
Right, it's the picturesque life, isn't it? Palm trees, sunny skies, and not a care in the world, except for her parents' expectations. And let's not beat around the bush. Those are heavy. The McGraths seem so committed to their military roots that you can almost feel the weight of it suffocating Frankie.
Exactly. Her father has this wall, a hero's wall, as it's called, dedicated entirely to the McGrath men and their military service. But what I find so poignant and perhaps infuriating is how that wall becomes symbolic of everything Frankie feels excluded from. It's like she's destined for a life that never extends beyond the shadow of that wall.
Oh, absolutely. And the whole setup of the deployment party for her brother, Finley, just punches that point home, doesn't it? I mean, he's celebrated, practically canonised, as he's about to head off to Vietnam. Meanwhile, Frankie's stuck in the background, being quietly groomed for her proper future as, what? A wife who arranges flowers and hosts dinner parties. Talk about uninspiring.
Yet it all comes crashing down soon enough. Finley's death, which, by the way, is handled with such quiet devastation in the story, shatters everything. For all their military pride, the McGraths simply unravel, which, honestly, shows the fragility beneath all that polished stoicism.
And can we just take a moment to appreciate Frankie's response here? I mean, she's grieving, right? Losing not just her brother, but this idealised version of her family. Yet instead of collapsing under all that weight, she makes this bold, defiant choice. She joins the Army Nurse Corps, turns her back on her parents' expectations, and basically says, "Watch me be the hero you never thought I could be."
It's almost as if Finley's death becomes the catalyst for this dormant yearning in her. And what's fascinating, Elliot, is how unprepared she truly is. She doesn't have anything close to the experience or toughness you'd expect for someone heading into war.
Yeah, no kidding. Her privileged, sunny California upbringing is basically her Achilles heel. But that's what makes her journey so compelling, right? You're watching this naive, sheltered young woman dive headfirst into a chaotic, horrifying world she's absolutely unprepared for. It's reckless, it's brave, it's human.
Absolutely. And once she's in the thick of it, her resilience is tested in ways she never imagined. From the grueling basic training to entering Vietnam, where every comfort she's ever known is stripped away, it's like she's unwittingly carving herself into someone new.
Yeah, and let's not forget Barb and Ethel. I love how those friendships form in the mess and madness of war. They don't just teach her the ropes, they become this vital lifeline. The camaraderie feels so real, doesn't it?
Oh, entirely. It's through those bonds that Frankie begins to navigate her new reality. Together, they create this fragile but necessary sanctuary amidst the chaos. And that's just the beginning of where her journey takes her.
No doubt. But you can see, even at this early stage, that this isn't just a story about war. It's about transformation. How every decision Frankie makes completely reshapes her, for better or worse.
Exactly, Elliot. Her innocence is lost, yes, but there's something so beautiful about how she begins to find herself in the process. And on that note, let's pause, because next up, we're diving straight into the frontline experiences that follow. Brace yourself. It's about to get intense. Elliot, let's pick up exactly where we left off. Frankie finding herself through transformation. Vietnam, 1966, becomes the crucible for that transformation. She's assigned to a field hospital right on the front line, and the manicured safety of Coronado Island feels like a distant dream. Every day brings relentless waves of wounded soldiers, the dirt and chaos stripping her down completely, forcing her to confront the raw, unfiltered human cost of war. It's absolutely harrowing, don't you think?
Absolutely. And let's take a moment to really grasp this. She's thrown into surgeries where she's holding pumping arteries closed with her bare hands, shouting over gunfire and helicopter blades. It's bananas. Can you picture being 20 years old and stitching up a soldier while under fire? You'd think it's something out of a Michael Bay movie if it weren't so horrifyingly real.
I know. It's almost impossible to fathom. There's a scene where Kristen Hanna describes Frankie operating on soldiers with makeshift tools while bombs are echoing around them And it's all so immediate, so visceral. It's as if time doesn't exist, only the struggle to save lives. It's harrowing, but deeply moving.
And yet, in the thick of all this madness, Frankie finds an anchor. Enter Dr. Jamie Callahan, a surgeon whose steady demeanour and quiet strength provide this small island of calm amidst the storm. Their connection isn't just professional, it's human. They see each other, really see each other, in ways that only people surviving hell together can. It's almost poetic.
It is poetic. Jamie becomes this steadying force for her, someone who doesn't just understand what she's enduring, but shares in it. Their bond feels inevitable in many ways. War accelerates emotions. It compresses time. But as powerful as their connection is, we as readers know that nothing in war is predictable or safe.
Right you are, Sarah. And just when you think Frankie might catch like the tiniest shred of happiness, tragedy strikes. Jamie's chopper goes down. Boom. He's gone. The guy who held her together is just ripped away. Talk about emotional devastation. And not for nothing, but Hannah really doesn't hold back on the gut-wrenching detail, does she?
Not one bit. His death leaves this gaping wound in Frankie, compounding the emotional toll the war has already inflicted. And I think what's most tragic is the way grief becomes this constant undercurrent for her. It's not just Jamie's loss. It's the accumulation of every life she wasn't able to save.
And yet, amidst all that, we get Rye Walsh. Ah, the brother's best friend swooping back into her life. Old connections, shared trauma, and let's be honest, a whole bucket full of unresolved emotions between the two of them. It's messy, it's complicated, but man, it's gripping.
It is gripping. Rye enters at a moment when Frankie is drowning in grief, and their shared history ties them together in a way that feels both comforting and fraught. There's tenderness there, sure, but also so much pain. It's as though the war is rewriting their past, forcing them to navigate new roles in each other's lives.
Yeah, and that tension between solace and heartbreak is what makes this relationship so compelling. It's not some fairy tale romance, it's raw and full of edges, but that's what makes it believable, right? They're both damaged in ways that only someone else who's been through Vietnam could really get.
Exactly, Elliot. But even with this flicker of connection, you can't escape the sense that Frankie's carrying too much for one person to bear. Grief, guilt, and the relentless realities of the war. Every moment she isn't working, she's haunted by what she's seen, by what she's lost.
And that right there, Sarah, is the magic of Kristin Hannah's writing. You feel every weight Frankie does. It's exhausting, it's heartbreaking, and yet you can't stop turning the pages. It's like this inevitable pull to see how and if Frankie ever makes it out of this darkness.
It is. But before we take that journey with her, we've got to pause here. The next chapter takes us back to American soil, March 1969, where Frankie's battle is far from over. Stay tuned. March 1969, Elliot. Frankie's back on American soil, but the war hasn't let go of her. She's carrying every scar, every loss, and every sleepless night. And coming home feels less like relief and more like stepping into a different battle. It's a harsh, disorienting return to a world that can't understand the weight she's shouldering.
Right, Sarah. It's like jumping from one battlefield to another, except now the enemy is everyone? Protesters are spitting at her, people flat out denying women were even in Vietnam. It's beyond brutal. I mean, can you imagine giving everything you've got, only to come back and face this hostility?
It's devastating. The war didn't just divide nations, it fractured communities, even families. For Frankie, that fracture goes deep. Her parents, who were once so steeped in military pride, now seem to recoil from her. They see her service not as heroic, but as something shameful, a reflection of the country's conflicted feelings about the war itself.
They practically gaslight her, honestly. Oh, women didn't serve in Vietnam, they say. Like what? She was literally in the thick of it. The gall of dismissing her contributions. I'd be fuming.
And yet, she's so consumed by grief and disillusionment that there's barely room for anger. Or maybe it's all just too internalized. That scene where she learns about Rye's death? It's heartbreaking. She's lost her brother, Jamie, and now Rye, and the weight of it all isolates her completely.
Right. Frankie's basically stuck in this spiral of grief and guilt, all while battling PTSD. And let's not sugarcoat it. PTSD back then, completely misunderstood, especially for women. She tries to get help at the VA, and what do they tell her? Sorry, sweetheart, Vietnam didn't officially happen for you. It's maddening.
It is. And yet, for all that anguish, Frankie finds this incredible well of strength within herself. She refuses to let the world's indifference define her story. That's where The Last Best Place comes in, a refuge she builds in Montana for female veterans. It's a sanctuary, really, not just for her healing, but for others like her.
Oh, and the name? The Last Best Place. I mean, doesn't it just give you chills? It's not just a haven, it's a declaration, like, here women like us aren't forgotten. Here we rebuild. Frankie turning her pain into something so transformative. It's just so inspiring.
Absolutely. And what makes it even more poignant is how Frankie uses the very tools the world denied her: understanding, solidarity, and shared experience. The Last Best Place becomes this lifeline not just for Frankie, but for women struggling to piece themselves back together years after the war.
It's a powerful full circle moment, isn't it? Frankie starts out as this naive, hopeful young woman trying to prove herself, gets completely torn apart by the war and its aftermath. And here she is, leading the charge to ensure that no woman's story ever gets erased again. Talk about resilience.
Indeed, Elliot. She embodies resilience in its truest sense. And if anything, her journey reminds us of something Kristen Hanna does so brilliantly: giving a voice to those history tries to leave behind.
Exactly. And I'm just going to say it. Frankie McGrath might be one of the most compelling protagonists we've ever discussed here. Her story sticks with you because you know it's not just hers. It's the story of thousands of women who sacrificed and struggled, only to finally demand recognition on their own terms.
Beautifully said, Elliot. And with that, let's gear up for our next chapter, where we'll dive deeper into some of the broader themes Kristen Hanna explores in The Women. Stay tuned, everyone. Elliot, after discussing Frankie's incredible journey and the powerful resilience she embodies, it's clear that Kristen Hanna weaves this theme into a broader narrative throughout The Women. What strikes me most is how seamlessly she captures the duality of human resilience and fragility.
Couldn't agree more, Sarah. It's like you see these women being so resilient on the front lines of war, holding themselves together, barely, but still enduring trauma that most people can't even imagine. And yet the moment they step off that plane back home, boom, the fragility kicks in. It's just so raw.
Absolutely. Hannah's portrayal of Frankie and her fellow veterans really underscores how war doesn't just end when the guns go silent. It carries on, especially for those who have to shoulder the memories and, oftentimes, the invisibility of their sacrifices. That was particularly poignant for me. Their contributions weren't even acknowledged.
Right? The fact that women like Frankie weren't even officially there is just absurd. Hannah shines a glaring light on this injustice. I mean, sure, women can be heroes in the story, but historically speaking, they were ghosted. Like, hey, thanks for all the lives you saved, but let's pretend you didn't exist. It's infuriating.
It is, Elliot. Yet there's also this incredible defiance in Frankie, this insistence that her story and the stories of those like her will not be erased. And I think that's where the theme of courage comes in. Not just facing the horrors of war, but standing firm in the face of systematic disregard.
Oh, absolutely. But what about the friendships, though? Barb and Ethel. They're like the beating heart of the story, aren't they? You see Frankie being held together by these bonds forged in battle. And then they just stick with her through everything. Tell me that didn't just melt your heart a little, Sarah.
More than a little, Elliot. Those friendships felt so authentic. tested by unimaginable circumstances, yet enduring far beyond the war. It's a powerful reminder that the connections we form during crises often have this lasting, transformative impact. Friendship, for these women, becomes a form of survival.
Totally. And honestly, you see that theme everywhere in the book, don't you? Surviving through love, through connection. Even the complicated moments, the messy relationships, they reflect humanity in its truest form. And let's not forget Frankie's enduring sense of duty. That's got to be love too, huh?
Absolutely. The love in this story, whether it's romantic, platonic, or even self-love, is never simple or straightforward, but it's unflinchingly real. And it's that complexity that makes The Women such a resonant read. Hannah doesn't shy away from the messiness of life. Instead, she embraces it, reminding us that within all the pain, hope, and connection still thrive.
Exactly. It's like the story says, yeah, you're going to get scarred, but those scars, they mean you lived. They mean you fought. That's why I think this book hits so hard. It's not just about what these women endured, but about how they rebuilt themselves after the world tried to knock them down.
Beautifully put, Elliot. The Women doesn't just tell one woman's story. It amplifies a collective voice that demands to be heard. And in doing so, it serves as a tribute to the countless unsung heroes of history. Truly unforgettable. You're absolutely right, Elliot. Those scars remind us not just of survival, but of the courage to rebuild. Stories like The Women stay with you long after the last page is turned, don't they? It's always a privilege to explore such narratives together.
Completely agree, Sarah. It's one of those books that doesn't just tell you a story. It pulls you into a full experience, scars and all. I don't think anyone can walk away from this without feeling, well, changed.
Absolutely. It's a testament to the power of storytelling, how it can illuminate truths, foster empathy, and maybe even inspire us to see the world a little differently. Frankie McGrath's story, and that of all the women like her, serves as a reminder of resilience, courage, and the importance of being seen.
Speaking of being seen, Sarah, I hope our listeners won't let this episode get lost in the shuffle. If this discussion has inspired you to pick up the book, you can find the affiliate link in the description. Do it, folks. You won't regret it. Plus, you'll be helping us out here at the Book Club Lounge, which, let's be honest, is a win-win situation.
And we'd absolutely love to hear your thoughts. Did The Women speak to you as powerfully as it did to us? Any favorite moments, themes, or characters you'd like to discuss? Let us know in the comments, and as always, we welcome suggestions for future episodes.
And let me just end with this, Sarah. Thank you for another unforgettable chat. You've made me see this book in ways I hadn't even considered, as always.
The feeling's mutual, Elliot. And to our listeners, thank you for joining us, for making this book-loving community something truly special. Until next time, happy reading.
Take care, everyone. Cheers.